Okay, so this is a quick video to explain how to replace the springs on the bait tray flap. So the springs are made of stainless steel and they are pretty hardy. They shouldn't easily snap, but why they do snap or how they become damaged is if the boat is stored for long periods of time with the springs under full tension like that. So essentially closing it and leaving it like that for weeks or months at a time, the springs are fully stretched, and if they are going to break, they're going to break because of that. The other thing that happens is when the tray is closed, when the flap is closed, perhaps there's something stored on top of the boat, which then forces the springs down and actually forces this central part of the hinge to open the spring, so it looks something like that. That then weakens it and it can snap in the middle. So what I'm going to suggest is that you always store the boat with it open, and if it's not convenient because you want to close your bag, at least store it halfway down so you release half of the tension, and use a thing like a pencil just to you can force in there like that, and that will keep the tray level so you can still close the bag, but in the meantime some of the tension is taken off the spring. All right, to replace these, you obviously have to remove the two bolts that attach it to the boat. You can use a formal hex key or a Torx screwdriver, something like that. And for now, I'm going to use this Torx. And you're going to take off this one and this one.
Okay.
All right, so basically once you've loosened the screws, the whole mechanism is going to come away like that. Now, this one is in perfectly good order, but I'm going to take it apart to show you how to put it back together again. The important bit is that there's a left and a right spring. They're not exactly the same. They're exact opposite, in fact. But importantly, you first have to fit them underneath these two bolts, and then you'll see that if you look very carefully, look at the way this spring is running. It's running clockwise. So when I open it there, that first ring can slip over the hinge, and that other loop there is exactly in line with the hole for the screw. Same with the one on the left. It's the exact opposite, but it works the same way. If I put this there and this one there, it wouldn't work. So again, yeah, you would open it, and it would slide in on that first, under that first, sorry, that way around. Slides in underneath it like that, and you just manipulate that forward until it lines up with the hole where the screw's going to go through. But let's go back to the beginning. So the one that is on the right, if the hinge is facing you like that, is the one that rotates clockwise, and on the one on the left it goes anti-clockwise. That's how you begin. Here you need a 3mm Allen key, an 8th spinner. So you loosen these both sides, and when they're off, we'll start from there. So here we are. The two screws are simply pushed through the hinge as before, as they were. And imagine these are new springs because they weren't faulty in the first place. So you're looking for the one which is spiraling clockwise. That's the left hand side. So this must be the one here. If you look carefully, you'll see that it ends in a clockwise motion. Can you see that? Okay, it's simple. You just put the washer on, put the nut on, just like so. Don't worry about where they're positioned for now. Just down there is fine. In fact, you're going to find, you may see that some of the hinges are slightly narrower, in which case you have to sometimes stagger these springs just slightly off from each other, otherwise they touch if these two bolts are too close together. And unfortunately we have no control. Sometimes we can't get the one that we want, we get another one, but they work, but you just have to stagger where the spring sits. But it's the same principle each time. Same thing again. So your next spring goes on there like that. Your washer and your nut. Okay, you just finger tighten them, it's fine. Like that, and this side the same, and then you do exactly what we did just now. You simply bring that over there like that. Take your bolt with washer on, push it through. Don't push it too far, about halfway. Same on this side. Let's get that spring on again. Push the bolt through, bring the flap over. This is the critical part, very important part, is that you've got to get this bolt back into those studs, and they mustn't cross thread. These are simply threaded into this fiberglass cap, although it's quite thick and it is glued. You don't want to cross thread here, because otherwise you'll get that to actually turn in the housing. You don't want that to happen. So what you do is you actually force that forward, and using your thumb and the palm of your hand, you keep that in the same plane more or less. You take your Torx screwdriver, place it over the hole. Just get one going to start. Don't worry about the other one for now. Just get the one and make sure it takes absolutely cleanly. It must go in smoothly. You mustn't have to force it, otherwise it means it's cross-threaded. Once you know that it's taking thread, you can bring this other one over. Same story. Find the hole and just make sure that it takes thread easily. Don't let it cross thread. There we go, it's taking thread. Now that was the important part. Okay, one more trick. I need to get a piece of foam. Okay, so to the next stage. Okay, so now you're going to bring this down till both sides of both bolts are tightened up. Not tightened, just to where it starts to get tight, like so. But the hinge is still loose. You can still move backward and forward. And this is the trick. You take 2 bits of insertion rubber, 1.5 mil thick, something like that. Stick one this side and one this side. All that you do then is you manipulate the back using the foam. Now what's happening is it's forcing the hinge forward. Otherwise, if you don't do this, you may find when you tighten the hinge down, your flap doesn't actually close correctly. So you can move it around like that using those 2 bits of foam. It's forcing the hinge forward, and you simply find your way underneath the cover like that, and now you can lock that one in position. And then the other side. Okay, now we take those out. Okay, it can be bent a little bit this way. There we go, and it's pretty well fitting. Now you can, okay, so now we've got to work on the other side. So we need to get those springs up a little. The higher up you can put them, the more tension you'll have on the flap. And I've actually learned a trick, and that is to use two of these tools. One you hook the hinge up with, lift it up, and you put another spanner on like that. So the one is keeping the spring from falling back down, and the other one is holding the nut. And you lock that one in place, and you can see the hinge is now higher than the other side. You do the same thing on this side. Lift the spring. Okay, so you're basically lifting the spring with the one spanner and holding the nut with the other. Like that. There we go. I think it might be okay if I don't lift the spring now, because I've got it in its right position. So don't tighten the spanner, just tighten from the back using the X key. Okay, that one is correct. This one over here, I see I can make it. Okay, well it's a little lower than the other one, so I'll try that again. But as I said to you, if those holes on the hinges are close together, you may have to stagger them, and that's just the luck of the draw. Depends on the hinge we can get. There we go. both about the same level, plenty of spring. And of course we'll check the one in the center, put a spanner on there, we'll tighten that one as well, good measure, there we go. And we double check again that the gaps are the same on each side, and flash the flap, it locks perfectly. Okay, so that's how you replace the springs. As I say, there is some way you can preserve them, and that is not to put any pressure on the spot if you have anything packed on top of the boat. And second of all, try to either store it open or at least store it with half the tension gone using the screwdriver, just like, I mean not screwdriver, the pencil, something like that. Hope that's helpful.